Hey guys, welcome to Uriel's Lantern. It's an excellent day here. I just spent 20 minutes talking to my phone on photo rather than on video, so I'm feeling a little sheepish. This channel right now, I have like two things that I'm interested in. Law, and then I'm also interested in manifesting things in the real world using what I would consider my spiritual, or what many people would consider supernatural powers. Manifesting things in the world. So what I'm trying to manifest is a season of miracles, and what they happen to deal with is mostly law, because I have a whole bunch of legal things that I'm entwined in, and I'm looking to get unentwined. So the way that this kind of came about is that I own a house and I signed a mortgage. And when I signed a mortgage, I just signed my name. That's how everybody signs. No big deal. But it turns out that's actually like poor form on my part, and I have left a giant bag of money on the table for the mortgage companies. So all of this comes down to commercial code and commercial laws. It's all codified at the federal level, and it's called the Uniform Commercial Code. That code isn't quite law, it's suggestions of law. The actual law lives at the state level, where it's codified in your statutes and codes. So as far as I know, every single state in the United States of America has adopted some version of the Universal Commercial Code as part of their law. I live in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania did this in the 1960s. We were one of the first, if not the first, to adopt it. So it's been around for a while, but unless you're in banking, you probably haven't ever heard of this thing. But there's terms in here like authorized representative. You might see pay to the order of, date. These are commercial terms, and they have rules of how you're supposed to do it, including how you endorse something, how you sign something that actually matters and has impact. And the way that it has impact is that if you sign one of these promissory notes just with your name and really nothing else, the bank can claim the value. Now, I know that's weird. I'm going to talk about how that works in a second. And instead, what you're supposed to do is kind of like how you endorse a check. You should put pay to the order of, and you would do that in your all caps name, and you put in by colon and your mixed caps name, and then you also write the words without prejudice and without recourse. And that stops them from being able to take the money. They still do, but it at least legally stops them from doing that. And it also alerts them to the fraud, because they can say, hey, he didn't claim it. He had every opportunity to claim it. Why didn't he? That's on him. We didn't do anything wrong. But then when you tell them, hey, you did something wrong, and they don't act properly, okay, now they're in trouble. And that's what happened in my case. So I wasn't doing all this law stuff even 5 years ago. It all started when my wife filed for divorce. I'd fought like 3 parking tickets or something. So now I got to come back and fight all this shit. And now I know how. And now I know what's going on. And now I'm dangerous. But a couple years ago, I'm just a punching bag filled with money, and they're taking said money from me. Once I learned about this, a lot of which came from the Contract Killer course from Brandon Joe Williams, I go out there and I tell the bank, hey guys, it seems like you've done something screwy with this promissory note. I'm rescinding my signature for fraud, and I'm replacing it with the correct endorsement that has my name by pay to the order of, and it's got without recourse and without prejudice on it. And, like all rights reserved, all that stuff, all the stuff that, it's a lot of what the patriot mythology people like, because, they're little bits of what you can find. But unless you're actually reading the commercial code, you don't know how you're supposed to apply it and where. So you kind of have like little snippets that you're applying and misapplying somewhat randomly. But, you take the course, you learn what Brandon Joe Williams is teaching you to do, you follow that, and you tell the bank, and you say, hey, you defrauded me. You lied by omission. If I had known, I could have just written words on paper and gotten a house for free with interest and have no debt. I would have done that. But you didn't tell me that was an option, and you have a commercial responsibility to do that. And if and when you do that, you can get paid. You can charge a fee, but you can't say, there's no debt. We created this money. The way it works is when you create the promissory note, or when you sign the promissory note, that creates a collateral security. And the banks can either trade it with each other, or they can go directly to the Federal Reserve Bank and say, I want to swap this 1-for-1 with Federal Reserve notes. So you have this like private promissory note that you exchange for a universal promissory note. And, the Fed charges a little fee for that, and they're the ones now storing all the collateral security. But the bank didn't lend you money. They didn't have like a corporate account, take the money out of that account and put it in your account. No, they took the note, they brought it to the Federal Reserve discount window, they swapped it 1-for-1, and then they said, hey, here's your money to me. And by the way, you owe us interest on this. And that's devious. That's diabolical. That was my money. That's created by my signature. And yeah, you can take a fee, but that's mine. And the only reason why it's not mine is because I was too ignorant at the time, and you lied to me by omission, and you didn't tell me if I just freaking signed it by and for without recourse, that I could keep all that money. And it's like, let's say the loan is like 200 grand, right? So in one version, I get 200 grand plus interest. So that's like $220,000. And that comes my way, and I use it to buy my house. And I own this house, free and clear of mortgage. That's amazing. But then instead of that, they took my money. So the bank gets paid once. And then they tell me I have a debt, so now I'm going to have to work for 30 years to pay them this money back. And with interest, it might be 2 or 3 times the amount that I took it out for. So the bank is getting paid like 2.5 times what it's worth, and I'm not getting paid, the 1.05 times what it's worth. And that's a big swing. That's like $800,000 on a $200,000 loan. So this thing has real consequences, and it sucks, and it's unfair, and I don't like it. So I told the bank, I wrote them a nasty letter last year, and I said, hey, you've stolen this from me, and you've done it wrong. And then they harassed me for a year, but they haven't done anything. And earlier this week, I sent them a letter saying, hey, here's my commercial claim against you. You guys got to give me my money back and pay me something like $50,000 to $80,000 in penalties, or I'm gonna default you with a commercial lien and put a lien on your company backed by this. And if you make me do other things like file the UCC and take it to court and all this other shit, then the amount goes up, and it goes up exponentially. I don't want to do all that shit. You're causing me a lot more work and upping these stakes, and so this is what it's going to be. And you have to respond by affidavit, because I wrote it in affidavit. If I wrote it in crayon, they could write it in crayon. But when I do it in affidavit, fact and truth, and I say, this is how it is, and then I put in, hey, they're defrauding me. And when they defraud me, they did it by mail, and they did it with wire fraud, sending like financial demands that are incorrect as wire fraud. And then you tell them, and then they like sent it by mail, and that's mail fraud. That's like 50 years in prison. So that's what I told them. I said, hey, if you do all this, this is what's going to happen. And I gave them until December 24th to pay up and settle. And during that time, I didn't think anything was going to happen in the next 9 days, but I got a letter in the mail from a third-party team of lawyers, and they said, it looks like you've been sued. You should hire us. So I haven't been served, but it would appear that they have filed a lawsuit, and with that filing of a lawsuit, you know, that is one of my triggers. Hey, if I got to take this if we got to go to federal district court for this, that's okay. But now your damages are something like $5 million, because it escalates. It escalates. My risk goes up. My time goes up. All this shit goes up. So now you have pain. You know, I wanted my money back in like 75 grand. Now it's going to be $5 million. I'm still giving them until the 24th to settle, to figure this out real fucking quick, and we'll see what they do. So that's one of my legal things. And then the other legal thing that I got to figure out is my big mama jamma against the basically like the entire judiciary of Pennsylvania, because it's all one big fraudulent scheme to extract federal money. You know, the way child support works is that they illegally issue you some child support order, and then the dad typically pays it. They skim off the top, which they're not supposed to do. You know, they get like a $5 fee every pay period or something, but they're taking like, you know, 30 to 40%. They're not supposed to do that. And so they're taking that. They're not giving all the money to mom. So mom is pissed off because she's like, hey, I'm supposed to get all this money, but my husband isn't paying me. Well, your husband might be, but the freaking domestic relations section people are not. They're stealing. So that's bad. And it turns out that, you know, if they're gonna intercept your income, you know, your income is your property, and you have property rights. You have the right to acquire, protect, and possess property. And when the bank comes in, when the support people come in and they take it, they're supposed to be doing things at the federal level that protect your due process, your substantive rights, your equal protection. You know, they're supposed to look at what they're abridging and how they're harming you, and see if they're even legally allowed to do this. By statute, they can. You know, there's nothing in the statute that says they have to do that. It's just all the federal case law telling the state courts, here, hey, this is what due process means. 14th Amendment, your 5th Amendment. This is what happens when, if somebody's in court, you have to provide these certain procedural protections. And oh, by the way, here's some things you can't do. You can't deliberately cause them problems and then be indifferent about it later. Tell the guy, oh, that sucks for you. You can't do that. So there's do's and don'ts. And the support court ignores it. You know, they take your money. And they steal that money. And they lie to the Fed about how much money they've taken, stolen, and whatnot. And money comes back from the federal treasury. It's routed through the Social Security Administration. It goes through the Title IV grants program. They reimburse the state for expenses. There's some incentive pay for collecting support. And then they also have matching funds. So, like, you know, you go into support court and you're like, all right, well, there's a judge. You know, me and my wife are going to kind of argue about what this should look like. And it's, you know, it'll be a fair series of events, and, you know, we'll find justice that works for our family. And none of that happens. The judge is on your wife's side from the beginning. They will put you in like absurd amounts of income to like maximally steal as much money from you as possible, ruin you financially, your career, and threaten you the entire time if you're like fighting. And if you're bold enough to say, hey, you can't do that, they call you frivolous, they call you an extremist, they call you names. It gets ugly. So I'm going to sue them too. I'm like 100 pages deep in that lawsuit. And I wish I could make it shorter, but it's like a freaking 5-year saga of this, that it took me a while to figure out how I'm going to commercially close it all down. But that's what I'm working on. So those are my 2 legal things that are in my brain right now. And so with that backdrop, we're going to go do some the radiant path. We're going to do some radiant prayer, and we're going to do some manifesting about these specific things. And specifically, I'm hoping and looking for downloads, and we'll see how this whole thing goes. So, guides, spirits, friends, creatures, merfolk, whoever, all of spirit, the divine family, God, angels, archangels, celestials, all the powers that be up in heaven above. You guys are all welcome here. All versions of myself in future and past tense, everybody's welcome. It's all one big family anyways. All right. So, with that, I'd like to go do a radiant prayer. So when we pray to the Heavenly Father, we don't treat him as a freaking vending machine. Hey, God, please deliver me a Snickers bar tomorrow. It might work. I'm not saying it doesn't work ever, but that's not what I think makes God delight. I think God delights in hearing from us and our thoughts and our feelings about what we're experiencing. We're all in this universe as little sparks of God, specifically so that he can know what limitation and not being completely omnipotent feels like, and he wants to hear from us. So I do this like, when I was in college, my mom would call and say, "Hey, Lovey, how you doing?" And what I would say to her is what I now say up to God and say, "Hey, God, thanks for calling. It's so good to hear from you. First off, I just want to say I feel so blessed to be in this world. Thank you for your divine spark. It's amazing. It's like the best feeling ever. This earth is beautiful. The snow is delightful. The sun is shining bright. And there's so many blessings in my world, it's hard to count. First and foremost, I have this amazing little son, and he's like the coolest little rascal that ever roamed the earth. And so I just want to thank you not only for this one little rascal son, but all the children in my home. I am blessed. For my girlfriend, I am blessed. And I know that this whole divorce thing that I've been going through and legal things that I've been going through have been quite trying and difficult. But I recognize that everything in this world is for me, and that these things are presenting themselves as challenges to be alchemized into gold. I know I don't get to alchemize gold into gold. I have to take lead and turn that into gold. So I get it. It's not always fun, but I understand that it's for my best and highest self, and that there's things that I'm learning and things that I'm gaining, and it's certainly not easy, and at times I'm crying my brains out, just so stressed. But I also recognize this is a powerful transformation I've been through, and I'm really grateful for it. I am powerful. I can protect myself. I can protect my friends. And somebody that wants to sue me, they might think, "Aha, I gotcha." And I'm like, "Oh, no. Sorry about that, but I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me." So I couldn't be there without you, God. I know that you supported me this entire way. I felt the divine family sending my heart comfort and peace. I know that the angels have my back, and I know that Spirit's there. I know that my mom's watching over me. So God, these are certainly trying times, and I am nervous about quite a bit of things, but I trust in your plan. I trust in this life, and I'm grateful to be able to live it every single day. So thank you, God, and thank you, family, and thank you, friends, and thank you, Spirit. And that is a radiant prayer. All right. So now we're going to switch from radiant prayer and into doing some of the radiant pathway and the light work and the spirit body work that we got to do. So the first thing, I'm just going to stand still for a second. I'm going to feel the balls of my toe on the pavement as I'm on this path. I feel like a little stiffness in my knees, my lower back as I wear this backpack. I'm just going to kind of sit my body a second. I feel my body. Now I go to my heart and I say, hey heart, I really need you to open up. We're gonna do some of this work. And I know that, my heart is sort of like in a little chakra, and I think of that chakra as being sort of a rose that's closed up, a green rose. And I say, hey heart, please open that up. And in my mind's eye, I can see my heart kind of open up a little bit. And there's a tiny little flame, and that's my spark of God. And I'm going to go breathe life into that. I can feel it get a little bigger, and I'm going to breathe again. Feels pretty good. One more. All right, I feel like my heart's a little bit more open, a little bit more pumpy. And now we're going to go make a little light body. This body is going to be green energy, and we're going to sort of wrap it around our body. I like to think of the flower of life, but sometimes other designs come up. And I just imagine it coming out of my heart and sort of like a foot outside of my body or so. This thing, this little green energy, crystalline, etheric thing forms. So heart, please go build me a little, maybe that's weird for you. So let's just build like a little pot. Heart, build me a little pot. All right, I don't need the whole thing. I just need a little pot. Like I'm gonna plant a tree in this thing. Give me a little pot. And I could feel in my hands, got this green crystalline pot. Now the pot needs some soil, some consciousness, and where I'm going is I want to. If I want a different life, I have to change the man that I am. If I was capable of already living that life, I'd already be there. But for some reason, I'm not, and it's because I have some limiting beliefs. That's the thought path of this radiant pathway here, and so I got to get rid of those. I got to get rid of those beliefs. So I'm going to ask my heart, I have some of these legal problems, and they're kind of crushing me, and they take a lot of work, and they're really difficult, and it stretches my mind and it stretches my brain, and I'm like fighting my way through multiples of these at the same time. My finances feel as stressed as they've ever been. Why is that? And I just kind of asked my heart. And it came back with, it's because you don't deserve abundance. Wow. Wasn't really expecting that. But okay, we gotta deal with what's here. Let me see if the Spirit's telling me I got another one. That one was, you don't deserve happiness and joy. that's effed up, heart. I don't know why you believe those things. I guess I've said it, or friends have said it, or I don't know how I programmed that one in, but that shit's got to go. So that thought, I don't deserve abundance, I'm going to take a scoop of my little heart space here that contains that, and I'm going to put it in my green pot that we just made. And then, I forget the other one. You don't deserve abundance. You don't deserve happiness and joy. Ugh, brutal. I'm going to go take another piece of my heart. Happiness and joy, please. Put that in that green pot. I deserve these things. I deserve happiness and joy. Oh, might have done some bad things in my past, but that doesn't stop me from receiving happiness and joy. Those seem pretty fundamental. Abundance. Yeah, bro. Prosperity, it's on the way. Happiness and joy, it's on the way. So, I don't know, I didn't want to hear that, but, that we're mining, right? We got to go mine our shadow self. And I say, thank in my heart, I'm sorry that you've been carrying that so long. That's no fun. I put it into this pot and I say, hey, Gaia, my dear, my love, can you take this pot from me? And I hear yes. So we're going to lower this pot down into the earth. Down she goes. And I can see her in my mind's eye sort of being absorbed by Gaia and the earth. Now, I got to make sure my body knows it's done, so I'm going to stop, take a breath. Big old sigh of relief. Then I'm going to say, hey, Gaia, thank you so much for taking that. I didn't want that. But I know you, my darling, and you, my love, can take that and make it into something better. Transmute it into some new life. Here's some consciousness. You can have it. All right. Now, from there, we express a little gratitude. Thank you. That helps solidify that. And now we get to do the light body part. So just like I had like a little etheric green pot, I need to go build a little light body. So I'm going to pull in sky energy down through my skull, down through my heart, down through my butt, all the way down to the Jurassic core of the earth. I'm going to pull up from the ground, up from Gaia, this red rust colored light coming in, moving up through my heart and up through my head. Then what? Oh, and then these things start mixing. They'll start mixing in my heart. I got my emerald flame in here. I got my rust-colored earth magic. I got my sky magic. They're all sloshing around in there. Breathe in to make it all more intense. Breathe in again. And I can find a little piece is ready to poke out, and it's this little golden thread. So I'm going to pinch my chest, pull it out a little, breathe some life into it. And I had this happen. I felt in my belly wants to do this too, which I don't normally do, but all right, belly, you can do it too. I'll pull this out. It feels more orangey to me. I'm gonna pull that out and let that connect. Now I'm gonna plug those in, like literally there's a light body above my head. I'm gonna plug these little things into my light body and I'm gonna allow it to inflate like a tire pump. And I can imagine some extra strong energy coming in. Breathe in. When it pumps up, I can do that again. Oh, and I pump that up. All right, now with the radiant path, we send the things we don't want down to Mother Earth, and she's going to go transmute that into something beautiful. But the things that we do want, we're going to send that up heaven's way. And we're going to say, angels, God, spirit, please go take this thing and help turn it into reality. We're going to write a little bit of code. We're going to write a little bit of desire. And to do this, what we do is we go 6 months in advance. And if your project's really big, maybe it's like more than that. But we're going to go 6 months in advance. And you just imagine yourself in your desk, living life. In this case, I'm looking for a settlement from the mortgage company. So I'm looking at my bank account and I'm seeing a big number. And then I'm looking at my desk and I don't see any claims or mail from the bank or threats from the bank. That's all gone. Now, visualizing yourself there and kind of how you feel. I feel like a champ in this. I feel like I won. I feel like I smoked them. I'm smug. That's how I feel in this. I'm smug. But that's not enough. It's not enough to just have an imagination. We then anchor this with a kind of memory. So I went forward 6 months. I'm going to go 3 months back from there so I can remember what happened. And, my brain can't tell the difference. My subconscious can't tell the difference between imagination and memory and actual events. So this is kind of how we're going to program the universe to accept this. So I'm sitting in that smug state of being happy, content, thrilled, kind of like a chump. I gotta say, like an insufferable chump. I beat the banks. It feels so good. But now I got to go back, and I got to remember. So I'm gonna tell I'm telling one of my friends, the story of when me and my girlfriend first got the check from them, and we just started laughing. We were like shocked, just shocked that this whole thing worked. Like we always do. We always knew we were gonna win. God doesn't send you desires just to see them smashed. God sends you desires so that you can get there, because it exists somewhere. It exists somewhere in the universe. And in this universe, we got the check, and it was for the new amount that I threatened that they owe me after they fucking put me in a lawsuit. Wrong guy. I'm not who you want in there. There's a lot of people you want in a lawsuit. Not me. So I sent them that nasty letter. I sent them 3 nasty letters now. And it was the third one where they finally caved. And they were like, we really shouldn't mess with this guy. The guy that's like enthusiastic about a federal lawsuit against him is not who you want to be in a lawsuit with. So they freaking sent me my checks. They canceled my stupid note because they didn't want $5 million of damages. That goes to $50 million if I have to litigate this stupid thing. So they opted to settle for as little money. They're like $1 billion company. This is like pocket change to them. I'm not trying to cause harm. I'm trying to get out of the damn thing. And they let me go. And then I take a big sigh. I won. And then we're going to send this thing up to heaven. And I'm gonna even say, hey Mom, please help escort this one. And I know you passed, and I know you're with me all the time. I know Jesus is with me a lot too. So if you guys could shepherd this win up there, that'd be great. So I'm gonna pause. All that feeling that we just had, I'm gonna put that little like memory ball into the light body. I'm gonna see this light body start floating into the sky. I'm gonna breathe some light into it. I'm gonna send it on its way. And I could hear it in my head. Accepted. That's awesome. So the way that goes, that's a problem that I don't want to have, and it's a problem I no longer have. That sounds like a problem for somebody else to deal with. All right, so now once again I'm going to sigh in relief. I know that's done. I want this thing handled quickly, so I'm going to say, hey, body, I'm a magnet for this experience. This is the force of gravity. I'm gravity, and it's coming right towards me. This event is magnetized to me. It is gravitized to me. I am pulling it in. It's happening right now. It's already been accepted. God's got this. Now, when I get home, I got to do stuff to help make it real. So as it turns out, I already printed the letter, my third nasty letter that I'm going to send to them, but I haven't sent it. So as like a little act of me showing that I'm going first, and I'm trusting in the universe, and I trust God to help make this thing real, I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to mail it to these people. And they're not going to like it. So that's how I'm going to anchor it in reality, not just dream world. You got to do both. As above, so below. The below has to do something too. We got to move. We got to act. All right. The other thing I'm going to do, I've been every so often I've been doing a little sun gazing here. Sun's behind the clouds, so I can look at it directly. I get a little squinty, but not that bad. Because what I want right now are some downloads. I got to fight this cabal. And it's like me, one dipshit little fighter of law and justice against an entire administrative state and the entire judiciary. I'm literally suing the freaking Supreme Court Chief Justice of Pennsylvania. So I need some help, and I'm not quite ready to send this whole thing up to God yet because it's not written, and I want it written. So I'm just, I guess, in a prayerful way, hey God, I know you got my back already. At times I get scared, and I just want you to know when you fill my heart with faith, and you hit me with divine grace, it's like the best feeling ever, because some of this is scary, and I'm going against powerful people. So I want you to know that's meaningful to me. And I know the angels and my mom up in heaven, there's a whole team that's out there helping me, and I just want to say thank you. And specifically, if I could get some support, I would like some more downloads to just figure out what are the various pieces that I need to put in this lawsuit. It's actually just a nasty letter to start, but what do I need to put into this so that I can claim my damages, get paid, and not have to fight the whole thing? Well, I'll fight part of it. I've been fighting for 5 years. I'll fight another 5 if I have to, but I don't want to do that. I want this thing to end. You know, I'm not trying to wind the whole thing up. I'm trying to wind the whole thing down. So if you and the spiritual legal scholars of my heavenly team could help me, my heavenly board, I know they're already helping, but I just want to give some special attention to that. So God, that's my prayer for help today. Thank you for your bounty. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you for my portion. There's a lot to be grateful for. Yeah. All right. Well, that's what I got for today. Thanks so much for chiming in, checking this out, and use this pathway to go help manifest the things that you want to. Peace out, guys.